Hello, everybody. All right. So today is Monday, February 17th, 2025. Of course, this year it's the observance of President's Day here in the United States. I hope everybody had a good week, and hope some of you I hope many of you had a chance to check out last night's show. As Rick Piper and I went over some features from from Thrilling Comics, Volume One, Issue 5, uh, from from what was at the time known as Better Books, now known as Standard. So, anyways, a friendly reminder, of course. First off, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and/or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, anyway, we're just gonna give people a chance to come in. So, as we're waiting for more people here. Um, let's see. Yeah. What can I talk about here? Oh yeah, today, as I said, today is the observance of President's Day here in the United States. So, um, I know there have been a few good President's Day cartoons and comics in before. We got two people here, so I'm gonna start a little early here, rather than wait till about 3. So here's what's on tap for tonight. I do have 3 stories to go over, all from Bleeding Fool. One I'm talking about Cartoon Studios with a K. Um, let's see, launching the first Stan Lee universe project. So we'll look at that. Also, a couple other a couple other. First off, a vintage comic collection has apparently been discovered following a robbery. We'll look at that a bit, and also Black Salt Comics is coming out with a project as well. Plus, of course, we'll have all the latest in the wrestling wrap up in terms of primarily WWE and AEW news, and of course, WWE had the NXT brand had its Vengeance Day pay per view. We'll talk about that. We'll also look back on Grand Slam. There are a few things that were said there. Plus, get you looking ahead to tonight's Raw. So, without any further ado, of course, let me just go ahead and just do this real quick. Okay. That said, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the question best of my ability. Also, if you haven't already, if you can help out by liking, sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. So, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started with the material here? Let me pull up the first article that we're going to go over tonight here. All right, so this first article we're getting into now. Cartoon Studios launches first Stan Lee project, a Stan Lee universe project, unquote. Article by Mandy Parker, published back on February 15, 2025, which is this past Saturday. So you've got, of course, Stan Lee there. You got the Iron Man from, and the look they have there for Iron Man on the far right there looks like the design from the 1966 Marvel superheroes cartoon. Some other things here too. So Cartoon Studios and the UK's GFM Animation have set Heroes at Large and Silver Sentinel as the first two features from their joint slate of CG animated movies based on stories from the Stan Lee universe. Cartoon and GFM will present the projects to distributors at this year's European film market. All right. So that sounds like a very interesting. Um, so I guess they're trying to put out there some of Stan Lee's works there. Heroes at Large follows two best friends, Bill and Joe, who are ordinary dads and electrical repairmen. They have everything they want: loving wives, fabulous kids, New York pizza, and the big game on TV. But all the normality and comfort is about to go out the window. The synopsis reads: in a story that takes them from zeros to heroes, Bill and Joe strain to remain friends, whilst fighting the most powerful forces in the galaxy, only to ultimately discover that friendship is their true superpower. The synopsis for Silver Sentinel reads: by night, Sentinel is a masked crime-fighting hero. By day, a business exec and PTA mom. Her daughter, 14-year-old Joey's coming-of-age battles are further complicated by the unexpected onset of superpowers. The typical mom-daughter conflicts are amplified as Sentinel's powers decline and Joey's blossoms. The two men must find a way to overcome their differences and reconnect to defeat an absurd old All right. I think there was a typo. Oh no, the two must find a way to overcome. Okay, I thought they said the two men. Okay, I misread that. That's my bad. So the two must find a way to overcome their differences. Okay. We will update our reporting if they get picked up. So there you go. So that's something to kind of look forward to in terms of on the movie side of things, at least for the European market. Cartoon Network Studios launches first Stan Lee Universe project. So that sounds interesting. Sounds more for the. So now let's get ready to move on to the next story here. We're gonna go over here. All right. All right, and as I said, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, with that being said, here, let's continue on with this next story. So, vintage comic book collection recovered from storage facility robbery. Article by Avi Green, published February 16th, which was yesterday, 2025. And there looks like an Amazing Spider-Man, copy of Amazing Spider-Man. So you got a few comics in there. The Calgary Herald reports that a Canadian collector whose comics were stolen from a storage has thankfully recovered them as police caught the thief and found the stolen pamphlets. And this is from the Calgary Herald article here. Heath McCoy would often escape the chaos of being a teenager in the world of comic books. So when he learned his valuable collection had been stolen late last year, he said it felt like quote, like a kick in the gut, unquote. On Friday, police charged a suspect in the theft. McCoy's run of collecting comic books stretched until he was 20. He was so enamored of them that he planned to become a comic book writer, eventually setting to work at the Calgary Herald as an entertainment reporter. His comics, along with the items of several others, were stolen from Sentinel Storage in the community of Mayland Heights on December 23rd, 2 days before. Oh, that's real. That's real poopy, right? That's real poopy. You get your stuff stolen 2 days before Christmas. Man, whoever this robber is should probably. I hope they throw the book at this turkey. That's just wrong, man. I mean, robbery is wrong in any form, but still, that's even more so when you do it 2 days before Christmas. For crying out loud, dude. Let's see. Although the storage company informed McCoy about the incident a week later. The books not only had great sentimental value, quote, my whole childhood revolved around comic books, unquote, McCoy said, but their financial value was in the thousands of dollars. Quote, he must have some inkling that he better sell them off individually, unquote, he added. Um, However, when the suspect was arrested, police retrieved 3 boxes of comic books dating back up to 40 years. The guy's okay, and then this is Avi speaking again. The guy's lucky his collection was saved. I do think, however, that he really should donate them to a museum if he ever parts ways with them in the future. Because seriously, this kind of stuff should be for everybody to see on a legitimate display in a history archive. Collectors of very old comics must start seriously considering that the speculator market isn't everything. And that's another one of Avi's major opinions there, that he believes that people shouldn't just be buying up comics and burying somewhere in their closet. Um, they should be donated. Anyways, now we get to the third article, and I may add some here because it looks like I got through these articles even quicker than I initially thought I would. But anyways, let's see now. This last art. Now this one I think is a little longer than the first two, so we might. So Black Salt comic series to finish with new publisher via Kickstarter. Article by Chris Braley, published yesterday. So, Black Salt, The Last Heroes Left, a comic series merging espionage and political intrigue with ancient martial arts, enters an exciting new phase as Wiseacre Comics partners with Ratty Entertainment to complete the 6-issue series and graphic novel adaptation. The series follows Samuel Tharp, an Interpol agent trained secret Shaolin arts, as he races to stop a renegade master armed with the deadliest biological weapon ever manufactured. The franchise has already achieved significant cross-media success. 26-month HBO licensing deal for the award-winning proof of concept film. Multiple gaming accolades, including the GDC Spotlight Award and DreamHack Dallas Best Action Indie Playground Award for the game demo. The feature film is currently in pre-production. Quote, partnering with Wiseacre Comics was a natural choice, unquote, says Owen Ratliff, Black Salt creator. Quote, their outstanding work, quality, marketing, expertise, and success as a black-owned independent publisher, align perfectly with our vision to establish Black Salt as a bankable IP. All right. Let's see now. And again, feel free to comment and or ask questions if anything grabs your attention. I'll try to answer the question best of my ability here. So, Ready Entertainment is launching a crowdfunding campaign to finish issues number 5 and 6. Completing the graphic novel 1, supporters can press quote, notify me on launch, unquote, on the Black Salt Kickstarter pre-launch campaign. Quote, I started developing my Black Salt franchise over 10 years ago because I was tired of seeing how they depicted black men in TV and film, unquote, Ratliff explains. Quote, I created a black hero who was strong, disciplined, and people could look up to, unquote. To celebrate diversity in comics for Black History Month, Wiseacre Comics is offering 4 free digital comics when you sign up on their website. Wiseacre Comics is an independent, black-owned comic book publisher based in Arizona. They are dedicated to creating quality storytelling and committed to delivering content that brings joy and inspiration to readers around the world. All right, so there we go with that one. Let's see what time it is now here. So 17 minutes. Well, let me see now. I think I was gonna another story that was on here that I was gonna save till tomorrow, but considering how fast we got through all three of those. But actually, I do need to step away for a moment. I'll be right back. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some music on while I'm gone, and I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, folks. I'm back. So, anyways, this is another story that kind of caught my attention earlier, but I just wasn't sure. I already had 3 stories, and I wasn't sure how fast I was going to get through those. So, I'm going to go ahead and do this one as well. I was going to save this one for tomorrow night because this is probably something we talked a lot about here. So, comics publishers reject traditional American values at their own peril. Article by Todd Fisher, published yesterday. So Marvel Comics and the Electric Company. Now, the Electric Company, for those of you who may not remember, was a kids television show back in the 70s and early 80s. So present Spidey Super Stories. Yeah, Spider special bicentennial issue. That was probably 1976. All right, so comic books. Okay, so said that, and then the person who Todd Fisher published yesterday. Okay. Comic books have long been a reflection of American ideals. All right, so yeah. Serving as a medium to inspire and entertain. But flip open a modern comic and you might wonder if you've landed in Bizarro World. Our boy in blue, Superman, traded in his truth, justice, and the American way for something that sounds like it came out of a corporate boardroom. And Cap? Well, he's been having a bit of an identity crisis. Spider-Man's gone from, quote, with great power comes great responsibility, unquote, to, quote, with great power comes great therapy bills, unquote. Oh, boy. Yeah, and we've been talking a lot about this, the woke infestation of the last 10 years or so. It's like the comic book industry has decided that being a hero is just too darn aspirational. But I don't think you can be too aspirational, but you know. Thankfully, America's been riding a wave of renewed patriotism lately, and many people are beginning to feel optimistic about the future again. Contrasting sharply with the sentiments expressed in contemporary comic books, with the recent revelations of Doge, some have begun to wonder if the push for progressive themes in comics has been artificially supported by funding from various organizations, including government-backed initiatives, and we kind of have seen that a little bit. I mean, one of the things that really did get talked a lot about among Doge's revelations was the fact that we spent quite a bit of cash to fund, that the American taxpayer, we're funding a transgender comic book in Peru. So go figure. If true, it would explain why the industry seems to be out of touch with its core audience, and many fans feel alienated by the new direction. Let's see. Wes and Doc from the Thinking Critical podcast recently chatted about modern comic book publishers breaking their legacy superheroes and writing them to go against the very ideals they once fought for, rejecting traditional American values. As Wes and Doc explain, the deconstruction of classic comic book heroes began back in the 1980s with works like quote unquote Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns, introducing flawed characters that strayed from the archetypal hero narrative. While this approach offered a fresh perspective, it also marked the beginning of a trend that would see many beloved characters stripped of their heroic qualities. Soon, characters such as Spider-Man, once emblematic of resilience and a hero's journey, were reimagined in ways that diminished his appeal. Instead of showcasing growth and perseverance, modern interpretations often portray Peter Parker and other heroes as perpetual victims of circumstance, reflecting a broader cultural narrative of dependency rather than self-reliance. And again, feel free to comment and or ask questions if anything here grabs your attention, people. The moral landscape of comic books has also shifted dramatically. The once clear ideals of right and wrong have been replaced with, with a postmodern view that lacks absolute truths. This has resulted in a narrative where traditional values are often vilified and characters that embody these ideals are portrayed as flawed or misguided. Captain America, a character synonymous with American patriotism, is frequently critical of his own country in modern comics. This shift not only alters a character's core identity, but also reflects a broader trend within the industry to distance itself from patriotic sentiment. Now, mind you, some of you may, if you guys were here like not yesterday, but the week before, when Metal was on with me, we were looking at we were looking over some comics that were published by Quality Comics. One of the heroes we looked at was Uncle Sam, and we talked a little bit about how Uncle Sam might be today. How he might react to today's world. So, um, yeah. So, yeah. Let me see. The shift not only alters a character's core. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. This kind of deconstruction mostly serves to alienate longtime readers who were originally attracted to the traditional depiction of the Star Spangled Avenger, and the industry's failure to attract new readers has led to declining sales and a shrinking market. Many fans are turning to alternative forms of sequential art storytelling, such as manga, which often represents traditional values. Despite the current state of the comic book industry, there may still be hope for a resurgence of American values. With the re-election of President Donald Trump, we're once again seeing a celebration of patriotism. The comic industry would be wise to adapt to this cultural shift. The potential for a return to storytelling that embraces traditional American ideals is on the horizon, but it will require significant change in both personal and narrative direction. Now, again, you would think that this is Avi writing this article, but this is not Avi writing the article. It's Todd Fisher who wrote this article. But I think Todd's sentiments are shared by many in the comic book industry as well. You go to the independent comic scene, and you talk to guys like EVS, like like Rex Version Devil Flyer, like Doc Blaylock, even like some of the guys that we have on here, like R.J. Carter, like Rick Piper, the Metal. These guys. I think a lot of these guys would agree with Todd's sentiments right here. You know, like Apex from Apex Comics as well. So, hey, Metal. Let's see. I will neither confirm nor deny that this occurred. Okay, Metal. Okay, so let's see. Right, we're at the 29 minutes, so we're coming up on 30 minutes now. So let's see. All right. So I think now I am going to go ahead and move on to the wrestling wrap up here. You know, I think we've hit enough of the time there to where I'm going to move on to the um, wrestling wrap-up. And of course, metal. I know your show will be starting up at 7 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock yours. So if you want to share your link for your show for after this one, um, feel free to do so if you're still here. So, and I'll go ahead and highlight. So, anyways, let's talk. Let's get caught up a little bit on pro wrestling. So, first thing I want to talk about a little bit, we're going to get into some WWE news. Um, as of course, it was the three-time WWF World Tag Team Champions, um, Demolition, were recently signed to Legends contract after a long blackballing from Vince McMahon. Some people were saying that the reason that Demolition was not, it took him this long to get a Legends contract was due in part that McMahon was basically blackballing them for being part of the class action lawsuit against the WWE over the concussion issues. But now Axe and Smash, who of course in particular Axe has had quite a history with the WWE, as Axe, whose real name is Bill Edel, also wrestled in the WWE briefly as a Masked Superstar, as well as Bolo of one half of the Mongols with Beppo, who is the former the late Nikolai Volkov, and a Barry Darso, who portrayed not only Smash but also portrayed Repo Man in the WWE. They've been signed a Legends contract, which has sparked conversations of a possible Hall of Fame induction at this year's WrestleMania. Now, already slated for the Hall of Fame this year, of course, are Triple H. This will be his second induction. This induction will be focused more on his singles career in the WWE. His first induction was as part of D-Generation X. And Michelle McCool, who was more recently announced as going into the Hall of Fame this year. You got now Demolition now under a Legends contract, the possibility of being inducted this year, as well as Jim Cornette now being talked about as possibly being inducted this year, as Shawn Michaels has been pushing for Jim Cornette to be inducted into this year's WWE Hall of Fame. So now with all that being said, of course, let's look back to this past Saturday's. Let's look back to this last Saturday's Vengeance Day pay-per-view, which was on Netflix on the as it came from the Care First Arena in Washington D.C. from with Booker T, Corey Graves, and Vic Joseph on commentary. The Vengeance Day opened up with Stephanie Vaquer defeating Fallon Henley to become the new NXT Women's North American Champion, and something that's been seen as happening for a while. So that happened, and then the second match of the night saw current NXT champions Axiom and Nathan Frazier defeat Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura, only for them to be attacked by a mysterious group of four men led by Dion Lennox. Some people are possibly comparing this group to another incarnation of the Shield faction that was out a few years ago, but this time with four people and focusing more on NXT. Then the third match of the night saw Eddie Thorpe defeat Trick Williams in a strap match. Now this strap match had pinfall or submission rules as opposed to the more traditional rules, basically dragging your opponent around and touching all four corners. So, personally, the idea of taking some of these more, some of these older gimmick matches and just doing pinfall or submission as opposed, I think just takes away from the mystique of them. Like in the the traditional strap match, also could chain match and a bull rope match as well. You have two guys tied together. You could use it as a weapon, and then you drag the guy around. That provided for a very interesting way, as opposed to just a simple pinfall submission. I think it made. I think personally, in my own personal opinion, keeping a lot of the more traditional gimmick matches with their traditional gimmicks does more for storytelling than just making the match a pinfall or submission. Yeah, with a strap match, yeah, you can whip the guy into submission there. I just think it's better for the more older gimmick matches, the ones that have been around a lot longer, to keep their traditional format. Keep let a traditional cage match be an escape type match, not just pinfall. Even though I have heard in the olden days they had pinfalls or submissions too. It just makes for more of an interesting story. Just seeing how the guys, not only just in the fact of how you utilize what's on hand, but also just for continuing story development there. Anyways, after that, Ethan Page defeated Javon Evans in under 12 minutes. And in a match for the WWE NXT title, triple threat match for the WWE NXT title, Obafemi retained over both members of A-Town Down Under of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, only to be once again attacked, for Obafemi to be attacked after the match by the same group of mysterious men who attacked Fraxium earlier in the night, and Josh Bridges. And in the main event, saw in a fatal four-way match, Julia retain the NXT Women's title over Bayley, Cora Jade, and Roxanne Perez. And then as Stephanie Vaquer came out to confront Julia, having won the NXT North American Championship earlier in the night, the two of them were confronted by Jordynne Grace, making her official NXT debut since signing with the company. Not counting her previous appearance as a TNA talent, but her first appearance on NXT as a signed WWE talent. Basically, I guess in her own way, signaling to them that she intends to go after those titles. So that's how things ended on NXT Vengeance Day on Saturday. Now, moving on to some AEW news. We'll get to we will get to the looking ahead to tonight's Raw in a few moments here, but want to go back to Saturday's Grand Slam Australia, which did get a lot of backlash for a few reasons. Having to go to a smaller menu, it being initially promoted as a pay-per-view, only for it to become like a regular show to be shown after. And it was taped, because with Australia being like 19 hours ahead of us. But on Saturday's show, The night opened up with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay defeating the Don Callis family members of AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita and the Proto Star Kyle Fletcher, setting up a couple more matches for AEW's Revolution coming up on March the 9th, in which now signed Kenny Omega will be challenging Konosuke Takeshita for the International Championship at Revolution. And then Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay will be taking each other on in a steel cage at Revolution as well. Another match already signed for Revolution coming up on the 9th is Cope taking on Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. In a match for the TBS title, Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks of WWE, successfully retained over Harley Cameron in Harley Cameron's home country of Australia. After the match, during the match, Stardom's Momo Watanabe, who had won the Women's International Cup at Wrestle Dynasty last month, was sitting in the audience during the TBS title match, watching the match. As Moné came over near her, she was applauding her, only for Moné to basically shove the TNT title or TBS title in Momo's face. Now, as I understand it, one of the prizes for winning the Women's International Cup was for the winner, in this case Momo Watanabe, to have a title shot at any women's title in the world that she chose. Now, this is, of course, with any company that, of course, started that, like AEW, New Japan, CMLL, any company that Stardom happens to be working with, happens to be having a talent exchange with, she could challenge for any women's title in any of those organizations. Looks like they're possibly setting up a match between her and Moné. Now, it could be for the TBS title, but if for those of you who watch it, you know that Moné has like 4 titles. So Watanabe could go for any of those titles. She'd go for the TBS title, for the New Japan Strong Style, Strong Women's Championship, or even the Rev Pro Undisputed Women's Championship. So that story will probably be developing over the next few weeks. Just keep watching like Ring of Honor and AEW to find out more about what happened there. In the Brisbane Brawl match, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli defeated Cope and Jay White by referee's decision when basically after of course help from Wheeler Yuta, which since this was a more of a street fight type of match, it was still allowed. Jon Moxley in essence choked out Cope to get the victory for his team. So Kazuchika Okada retained the AEW Continental title over Buddy Matthews. During the match, though, however, apparently, according to Matthews, he hurt himself due to the fact that the ring was a little bit smaller than they normally use. AEW normally uses a 20 by 20 foot ring, but here they instead of bringing their own, they had to borrow one from a local company, which I think was like 18 by 18 in this case. So a little bit smaller. Matthews, and I'll have some more news on Buddy Matthews in a few minutes here. But Konosuke Takeshita retained the Continental title over Buddy Matthews. And the main event saw Toni Storm regain the AEW Women's World title from Mariah May, getting a certain amount of revenge here from how May took. That had been a kind of a story that had been long going, as May had kind of cozied up to Storm only to betray her and take the title from her. But now Storm coming back after that hiatus and regaining the women's championship in her home country of Australia. So with that, now we're going to take a look ahead to tonight's night's Raw. Since I look at that, as one piece of news that did come out today from tonight's Raw. Rhea Ripley, the current Women's World Champion, will not be at Raw tonight due to the fact that she and her husband, Buddy Matthews, who got married this past summer, back in June of 2024. Back in June 2024, will be having their long overdue honeymoon. As of course, while on crutches, but Buddy had said, well, I think it was Rhea who said that they're not going to let some little injury spoil their honeymoon. So there'll be, so Rhea Ripley will be missing tonight's Raw from the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. But even without Rhea Ripley there, in the lead up, of course, to Elimination Chamber in 13 days. You'll have on tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles will be taking on Dominic Mysterio. Penta will be looking to continue his undefeated streak as he takes on Pete Dunne, having beaten Pete Dunne once before. In a number one contendership match for the women's Intercontinental title, Dakota Kai will be taking on Ivy Nile, with the winner, of course, getting basically being able to get a shot at Lyra Valkyrie. Now, Kai had faced Valkyrie in the tournament finals of the Intercontinental, so it'll be interesting to see if they set up a possible rematch here. See where that goes. And then in what I believe will be so in I believe what might be the final. Actually, no, I think there might be one more, but in the women's qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber, Raquel Rodriguez will be taking on Roxanne Perez. There's been some talk that they're thinking of trying to move Roxanne Perez up to the main roster. And then Seth Rollins takes on Finn Balor in the men's qualifying match as they continue to prepare for the upcoming Elimination Chamber coming up on Sunday. March the 1st, or Saturday, March the 1st. Sorry, not Sunday, Saturday, March the 1st. So with that being said, of course, now we'll move on with the wrestling wrap up all wrapped up, as it were. Now we're going to take a look. Now we're going to take a look back in time, and with today being, of course, Monday, February 17th, 2020, or 2025 rather. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. So, the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to wish a happy 75th birthday to I bring him up here. Happy 75th birthday to American television writer-producer Alan Burnett, who, of course, has worked with, of course, Warner Brothers Animation, Hanna-Barbera Productions, DC Comics, and Walt Disney Television Animation. He has had a hand in virtually every DC animated project since the waning years of the Super Friends. Burnett's contributions for Disney were largely a part of the 1990s Disney Afternoon, where he was attached to Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears, various projects in the Scrooge McDuck universe. And I've seen and I know he also had a number of credits involving, throughout the night. Let's see. Yeah, Smurfs. I've seen his name. The new Scooby Doo and Scrappy show. Again, a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff, a lot of Warner Brothers stuff. You probably remember seeing his name. So happy 75th birthday to writer producer Alan Burnett. So anyways, now getting ready to move on to the next piece of Nietzsche history as we now move ahead to the year 2020, 5 years ago today. On this date, 5 years ago today in 2020, on this day in 2020, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett, Washington. Main event of that show saw Kevin Owens team up with the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar, to defeat Murphy, currently the Buddy Matthews of AEW. If you wondered how an AEW star and a WWE star got together and got married, well, there you go. They were in the WWE together before he went to AEW. So that's how Buddy Murphy, teaming with AOP, Akam, and Razor by DQ in a 6-person tag match. Some other matches, of course, Kairi Sane defeated Natalya by countout, just under 5 minutes. You also had Drew McIntyre defeat MVP in just over a minute. The night opened up with Riddick Moss retain the 24/7 championship over R-Truth and Mojo Rawley in a triple threat match. And then Aleister Black, who went to AEW as Malachi Black, opened up the night defeating Eric Rowan in a one-on-one match. And of course, now that Malachi Black has apparently been released from AEW, there's been some talk that he may be making a return to WWE soon. As of course his wife is also a talent with the WWE, Zelina Vega. So now we'll move on to the final piece of Nietzsche history here, going on to 2021. On this date in 2021, here, the 5th issue of Volume 4 of Sabrina the Teenage Witch from Archie Comics went on sale on this date in 2021. Sold for $3.99, which 28 pages. The story was written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Veronica and Andy Fish, and lettering done by Jack Maxwell. So the 5th issue of Volume 4 of Sabrina the Teenage Witch went on sale on this date back in 2021, 4 years ago today. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back here with more Nietzsche news tomorrow night, as well as this Sunday. I'll have Apex from Apex Comics joining me, as we'll be looking at books that went on sale back in April 1940 from Street Smith. So with that being said, I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Oh, and don't forget, go check out the metal show, The Vomitorium, tonight. If you guys want to go check that out. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.